Hello, everybody. It's Donna Cravata, and we're back again with another Real 50 over 50 interview. And today we have Pamela Sylvan. She is a wisdom archaeologist, a MojoMaker, author, host of Not Your Mama's Midlife podcast. She's not your typical wisdom guide. After years as a postgraduate professor and capturing cultural moments as a newspaper columnist, she discovered something fascinating. The most powerful stories weren't in the classrooms or on the printed page, but they were locked inside women who had lived them. Pamela specializes in what she calls wisdom archaeology, helping women over 55 excavate the gold from their life experiences and forge it into the next powerful chapter. She's not interested in helping women simply age gracefully. She's passionate about helping them rise gloriously. Welcome, Pamela.
Thank you, Donna, and welcome to you into this wee space. We were just laughing before we went live about how we just go with the flow where the conversation and the muse wants to take us. So thank you for inviting me into your wee space today.
Yes, and the structured part of this conversation is now officially over. So off we go.
It's funny you say that. I was listening to you talk about me. I'm thinking, huh?
Who's that?
Oh,
So let's just start with why women over 55?
good question. Good question. Why not 54? Why not 50? Why not
Yeah,
49? Right? Well, I had to pick a number.
yeah.
So 55 was as good as any. It could have been 30, but 55 was as good a number, specifically because I'm now in my 60s and I have a little bit of memory of what it was like to be in my
Mhm.
50s still. So, but to be more precise about that, we have lived a certain amount of years and situations and experiences, especially if we happen to be mothers. Our children by this point have grown to the extent that we don't have our hands-on daily happenings with them. So we have some more headspace, some more memory acuity, if you will,
Mhm.
to do some good work. Yeah, I'm still a mom, will always be until I expire, but my child is 30, so she doesn't need me in her ear every 5 minutes.
Mhm.
So the 55 stage at this point to me is a great jumping off point for women to start moving back into self and finding home base. It's like
Mhm.
tag back in the day where you
Yeah.
had to find tea. This is the time to go find tea.
Yeah, and it's funny through all of these interviews and my own personal experience, the 50s felt like puberty all over again. It's like
Mm,
all the stuff comes rushing at you. Everything's new and different, and what was true yesterday isn't true today. And then
mhm.
when you hit 60, this calm just kind of like glides in.
Mhm, mhm. Yes, you think, "Well, what are they freaking out about?" Right? Don't they know? Why are they taking that so seriously? Aren't they aware? Or is that a thing to even spend time on now? All
Oh,
of
yeah.
these things that we were told when we were too busy wrangling, right? It's all of a
Yeah.
sudden
Yeah.
I now understand why they said that.
Yeah. Well, you don't when you're in the middle of it, it's just hard to be in the middle of it. It's a hard space.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's
And
also our stages, Donna. I mean, we are set up to focus on certain things during the particular level we're in. During that time up until where we are right now, we were in the accumulation stage, the accumulation of wisdom, the accumulation of stuff, the accumulation of our little communities, whether it be our family community or our broader community. We were busy collecting. And so we're at this time now, we are now disseminating our wisdom, putting out our energy and our money towards causes, helping our children find their footing. So we're no longer collecting per se. Now, this
mm,
is not true for everybody, but as a collective around this stage of development, that's where we are.
yeah, yeah. I keep saying I'm in my liquidation phase.
Mhm, mhm. And that includes people. How many people have moved?
Oh my goodness. I started liquidating people years ago, though.
Oh, and it keeps moving faster. And the reason it keeps moving faster now is not only are we making decisions about where we want to spend our time and energy, but because of life cycles, more and more people are dropping off. They're passing away. At one point you were going to weddings, and children are being born, and you had to be buying presents for all of these occasions. Now the wheel has turned.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And also the application process gets faster.
It's like, nope, not you.
Nope. I didn't even finish telling you my name. I don't care.
Doesn't matter. I felt you coming, so nope.
It's
No
so true.
explanation. No explanation needed. It's just the way it is.
It's
One of the
refinement.
things when we do reflection with ourselves, and we think about all the anxiety we put ourselves through about not having the voice to say what we wanted to say or accept things because other people knew better and so forth. I think, wow, where was this voice when I needed it? But I think we had to go through that process of our finding our voice, right? I mean, what
Voice
what
was
a
waiting.
whirlwind. Yeah, what a whirlwind we would have been if at 20 we were able to tell people where to go like that and meant it and not worry about being liked, not worry about the good opinion of other people, not worry about if we will have friends by Friday so we can go out.
Yeah. It's amazing. I think it's a really great place to be. I'm, you know, even with all the turmoil going on in the world, and even in my own life, I have to say I'm probably the happiest now than I've ever been.
Oh, absolutely. And to me, it's a time to really drop into the center here.
Yeah.
My partner and I, we found our little homestead. It'll take a legion of Boy Scouts to find us. This is where how tucked in we are. Um, and during the week, there's just nobody up there. On the weekends, some of the other homesteaders find themselves on the lake, and you see a boat go by and say, "Oh, there's somebody up here." That's how you know there are people up there because there's no walking by of anybody, right? So I thought, isn't this amazing that one feels so good to be so alone here? And when you want people, you just drive for about a half an hour. I'm in town now,
Mhm.
so I can get a little bit of a signal, good signal to speak with you. But I have removed myself from the crush.
Mm. Yeah, and where I live, I'm in a suburb of New York, so it's busy, and, like, I'm in a condo development, but I'm in the very last unit in the woods. So
Hmm.
there's bear and fox and coyote and
Hmm.
pigs, everything's going on over here. But if you go out the front of my community,
Hmm.
I'm on a main drag where there's Target and car dealerships and gas stations. I could walk to a town, I could walk to a train station, but when I'm sitting in my little corner,
Hmm.
nobody ever comes back here.
Hmm.
Except once a week, the landscapers, and I'm in this quiet little space that is really quite nice.
Yes, yes. By my human design says I'm a hermit,
Mhm,
and I always recognized that about myself. I did not have the wording for it, mind you, at the time. But for my particular energy and how it unfolds, I need time to be in my space with my books. I'm a book geek. So I need time to be alone, to think, to process, to reflect, to
yeah.
do all of that stuff and to work and to write and do what I do. So when it was proposed that here's a place, I started internally laughing before it actually hit my throat, and I laughed out loud because I'm thinking this is so not what my parents grew me up to do, right? What do you mean you're living in the bush? What do you mean? We just put up a cabin, and I told one of my aunts who's in Vancouver, and her first question, and I think her only question was, "Do you have plumbing?"
But you've also been living in a van for a while, haven't you?
Yes, yes. So a cabin, the plumbing was the last thing on my mind, and thank you for reminding me. I mean, I'm in the van right now. This is our our forever home for now, and it takes us all over the place. Half the year we're now on this property, but the van. Do you know we still sleep in the van every night, even though there's a trailer up there and now a cat. We're still in here, but that's another story. Um, but but my big point that I'm trying to make at this point is finding a spot, carving out space and time to do deep inner
Yeah.
reflection. Why 55? Because we have more of it afforded to us.
Yeah.
A lot of our major big responsibilities have passed us by. Um, we have more time. The honeymoon might be over in a lot of respects, either through relationship, your careers, all of it. So you're not so heavily involved as you used to be. So there is time for reflection. Why are we here? Is to do that excavation work. I think in my bio you mentioned archaeology. It
Yes.
That's what archaeologists do. They do those dives in to find out what made that particular entity or space the civilization that it was. What were the some of the concerns? What were the questions they were answering? What were the developments that they came up with? What how did they evolve? So how did you evolve as a person? How
Mhm.
did you get to be the Donna of today? What happened? What are you carrying?
Whole series of experiences,
Yes, what are
and
you
it's
carrying?
yeah,
Yeah, that you're
well, I do very similar work, but I do it from a different perspective because, it's what I used to call a content audit, but who
mhm,
wants
mhm,
to do a content audit? No one.
mhm. No way.
Basically what it is, I now call it tried and new because you're going through I mean, I'll literally sit with a client on Zoom, and we'll go
Mhm,
through their Google Drive, and
mhm,
we'll find things that they did because what I'm trying to for them most of the women I work with are at 55, it really is the 55 to 65 zone is that sweet
mhm,
spot, but they're
mhm.
going into their 3rd act.
Yes.
But the world is throwing, like, this shitstorm of imposter syndrome at them,
Mhm,
and they feel like everything that they've done for the last 20, 30, 40 years doesn't matter because now they have to reinvent themselves and do something
mhm.
else and start over.
No.
But when I start to take them through what they've already accomplished,
Mhm.
those imposter syndrome feelings start to kinda wither away,
They're
and they
away.
start to pump up a little bit because 'cause they're like, "Oh, yeah, I did do that, and I did do that, and this led to that, and from doing this, I met that person," and they're starting to kinda knit together these parts of their life and their professional existence,
Yeah.
so they're not starting over again, they're just taking the best parts and
And it's a
creating
remembering,
something new.
isn't it? It's a
It's totally
remembering.
remembering. You know what? My biggest lesson from all of these interviews is reinvention is bullshit. We're
Yes.
remembering the things that we put aside because we were too busy taking care of somebody else.
Absolutely. I wrote 2 books on the miraculous thing about reinvention, and then I did a recent video about, "You see these 2 books about reinvention? Now let's talk."
Let's
Because
don't read them.
yeah, let's talk about what's happening here. Because
Yeah.
to your point, Donna, you're absolutely right. There's so much that we had either on a hard drive or in our Evernote. Oh, you should landscape my Evernote. It's just crazy. I must have a ton of books in there already that never went anywhere because other things popped in. For a few years of my life in particular, my mother came to visit one Christmas, found out she had cancer, so everything came to a screeching halt at my end
Mhm,
to to do this with her for about 2 years, and then she passed. And when she passed, COVID came,
mhm.
so which paused things a little bit as well, right? So there is a remembrance that allows us to, and at when we reach this age, to go deeper. So there's a
Yeah,
remembrance and a deepening that
yeah,
synthesizes together to
yeah.
make something incredibly spectacular. So you know what you're planning, what you told me before the camera went on? Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant, and I'm so hoping that we can lock arms here on that because
Mhm.
that's exactly what this is, and legions of women who are in these little nooks all over the place can find each other. Because here's one thing, and this might sound familiar to you as you sit in your little nook in the back of your housing development there in New York State, that if you had to walk through that development, it'll be you'd be hard pressed to find someone at the stage you're at. You've evolved a lot in the work that you do and evolved before you started doing the work. So we are, in a way, we're evolutionary homeless gals that
Mhm.
where do you fit in? Are you going into another healing circle? I mean, that thought is kind of abhorrent to me, right? Not
Yeah,
that
I've done it. I've ripped off all the Band-Aids I care to rip off.
yeah, that's like, don't invite me if you're having one. No, I will support. I'll tell people you're happening, but not where I'm going, right? Most of these things that are going on out there, they bounce off us because it's no longer vibing. It's no longer computing because we have already gone somewhere else.
Yeah, well, I think, like, one of the big things that I think I've come revelations, I maybe should say, is that, the stuff that's coming at me isn't mine, and I've come to accept that,
Mhm.
when I was putting down things that were for me, I was picking up things that were somebody else's that I had no business holding in the first place.
Bingo.
Yeah. So now it's like, "Oh, well, that's not mine. I'm just gonna duck to the left a little bit, and it'll go right past me."
That's right. That's what we're doing now. We're sort of
Dodging
worked
my
out right
way
there.
through.
Work out right there. Good for the hips and the waistline.
Bobbing and weaving.
Like, it's a
But
terrible
but
place to be. You
no.
know who we become? We become Statler and Waldorf all of a sudden. We're up there looking at things, and it's like, oh no,
Hot
but
potato.
it's all necessary again because evolution, because you
Yeah,
don't know what you don't know yet. Or when
exactly.
people are come running to me with a book, and it's
Mhm.
like I politely nod and I'm thinking, I read that 30 years
Yeah,
ago. I get it. But I had to read the book 30 years ago because someone read the book 30 years ago. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
I don't laugh out of condemnation. I smile because it's like, you old girl.
yeah. Keep going. I'm glad I'm on this end of that road.
Yes.
But yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing, and it's a level of clarity about, what you're willing to let in, because everything comes with some kind of energy,
Mhm.
um, withdrawal.
Yeah. Yeah. I heard one a gentleman say to me, "Oh, don't introduce me to them," because I thought, "Oh, how rude." But then he prefaced it by saying, "Because I'm going to have to spend a lot of time and energy forgetting about them." And I thought,
I like that.
and now I get it, right?
I really like that.
Don't bring stuff that I'm not going to have to dust out of my brain now, right? I'm going to have to like deal with it. And I think that's the one of the profound things about getting older. We now
Mhm.
know where to go and where not to go. Not everything needs our attention or our love or any of that stuff that we were told through conventional thinking. We are post-conventional beings now. What we now need is to understand what that means a little bit and to hook into a
Yeah,
growing consciousness of women that are now willing to play there.
yeah, yeah. And,
That's the
like, starting this whole Real 50 over 50 thing, it was unplanned. It was not part of my agenda, but it has been such an incredible gift, not only for the incredible women that I've been meeting like you,
Mhm.
and, um, but it's been a gift for me personally because I've I've been entrusted with stories
Yeah.
and antidotes
Yeah.
and cycles and, all of it's just like sometimes this is what I count when I go to sleep at night. I'm not counting sheep, I'm counting stories.
Oh, stories are so good. If I had to name a regret in my life up until this point, it's not about the bad relationships or the money not made or lost or none of that stuff. It was the fact that I didn't scrape all the juicy stuff out of my grandmother before she passed away. She had some amazing one-liners. Like one, she died at 90, and one of the things she's left with me before she passed away was that there wasn't much to be afraid of, and she wished she had taken more risk.
Yeah,
Ooh. And
yeah,
then, she lived through all of those earth-shattering moments, defining moments in our history, whether it be through she was born at the end of World War I, went through
mm,
the Great Depression, and through that first. pandemic, and then World War II, where she met my grandfather. I mean,
Mhm.
so many stories in there that
Mhm.
I didn't see the value of until it was too late. And I'm thinking, hey, where's she now? Like I'm trying to remember what she said about some
Yeah.
things. I'm trying to capture through memory and hopefully it's right. So to your point, the stories, from my African heritage and my Caribbean and African heritage, the concept of the griot is they hold a very profound place in society where they are the keeper of the wisdom and the knowledge
Mhm.
and move those stories forward because technology wasn't a thing back then, of course,
Yeah.
right? So how does it come forward? It's through the holding the chalice of information. And
I love
people
that.
would gather. So the older you were, the more valued you were because you had more stories. That was your currency, your capacity to hold the information, right? So now, because everyone has a phone, right?
Mhm.
You are considered to have information, which you do. You have connection to things. But at 30, there's nothing that you can possibly share with me right now other than some technical advice about my phone, but it's not lived. It's not lived.
Yeah. The
So you,
lift
Donna,
that really
are
matters.
a huge currency on the planet because of your lived experiences and your willingness to share your stories and gather stories through other women and to help other women excavate their stories through the work that you do. So you, my dear, are a huge benefit to women on this planet at this journey in time. So
Well,
thank you.
thank you. I'm enjoying it. I went through my own excavation process, about 2.5 years ago. I was at the inflection point of offboarding 2 very difficult clients and bringing on 3 new ones,
Mhm.
and I just my heels dug in. I was like, "I don't wanna do this."
Mm.
And I just stopped because when I started my business in 2006, it was out of necessity. There was no, I'm going to have a plan and follow a plan. And also, I started a
Mm.
virtual business in 2006. Nobody even knew what that was. So I was just making it up as I was going along, literally. And I 2.5 years ago, I stopped. And I just said, I'm going to create the business that I want, not the business that just came to because based on what people needed. And it's been such an empowering experience because I never had a boundary before that.
You see underneath my name, I there's a phrase that says "Fire Era Women."
Yeah, tell me
Con-
about that.
Congratulations, you are a Fire Era woman because that's the kind of consciousness right
Yeah.
there. Post conventional thinking, conventional meaning. Here are the check boxes. Have you seen to those boxes, right? And we, for the most part, we have. We've checked
Mhm.
off those squares, and then we get to the bottom of the list, and it's now what? There's something more. I feel it, can't articulate it. What am I doing? Why
Yeah.
am I still doing this thing that no longer brings joy? Never really did, but it is what it is. So for you to say what you just said right there, that you stopped and pivoted, made other choices that meant something to you, is part of that fire era women lexicon of thinking. So I'm putting voice to what is already going on. I'm not making up some new kind
No,
of.
no, no. I mean, there is definitely. I mean, I was never a demographics person. I'm
Mhm,
always like, we really need to like understand what people feel, what they need, what they're experiencing. We need to
mhm,
reach them on a different level. And
mhm.
but like when I hit 50, it was like that no bullshit button got activated on an entirely different scale. And there is something physiological that happens to you
Yep.
in your body, in your brain, when you turn 50 and again when you turn 60. And, I have evidence of this from I think you're the 120th conversation, and it's consistent throughout that we change and
Mhm.
we need different things and not need, we require
We
different things.
We do. We demand different
Yeah.
things. And so a lot of that stuff coming at us has its value and its place for those that want to partake, but what for those that have already, gone through their threshold? Another term that I use in conjunction with my work, their sovereign threshold, meaning that you've earned your stripes, you've earned your crown, you've earned your whatever you want to call it. Move through and
Mhm.
line up with the quote unquote assignment. What is
Yeah.
the assignment? And you're in your assignment. You are in it. You are beautifully executing the assignment. I'm in the assignment. And my grandmother said to me when I was about 19, not even 20 yet, she said, okay, you've literally been baptized into your assignment and you're going to run, but let me tell you, you can't hide. And I thought, old woman, what do you think you're talking about, right? Um, so many moons later, I get what she meant.
Yeah.
When something is for you to do and pick up, you look around and no one else is doing it. So it becomes very
Yeah.
discombobulating because maybe you're wrong because no one else is doing that. But it's not for them to do. It's for you
Yeah.
to do. So making community around the doing, not the
Mhm.
learning. You've done that. You've peeled off
Yeah.
those bandages. You've done all that work. It's no longer about looking for how. It's you know what I now feel comfortable in my body, in my skin. Here we go. And I
Yeah.
know I have the backing of all these other women off doing their particular assignments as well. Right.
Yeah.
And they're
And
talking to each other about what works. What did you read? What course did you take? Where did you go off on retreat? Who? And this is what I want to capture. I want to know all the little bits and pieces of elixirs that people brought back.
yeah. One of the gifts that's come from this is, particularly with the panels, because when I do the panels, I'm pretty much a fly on the wall. I let these conversations go.
Mm,
And when I do that, the feedback that I get from the women on the panels allows me to see myself through their eyes in a way
mm.
that I would never have seen myself. And how else do you like get to create this type of situation where that can happen?
You have to create it. That's how you get to see it, right?
But
You
that
have to.
wasn't the intention. I didn't say I'm gonna do this so people tell me how happy they are with me, like that wasn't it?
Oh, come
It
on.
all right, I'm lying. It was totally it. No,
But Anna,
it's
but
about
let me throw something here at you. As women specifically, and men too, but they do it in different ways. But
Mhm,
women, how we learned how to be women is we sat around the kitchen table as our mothers, sisters, aunties, grandmothers, what have you, talked. What were we doing? We were flies on the wall, were we not?
I didn't learn that much.
I learned a lot. Some of it of what not to do, right?
Yeah, that's
I,
pretty
I
much it.
I heard the stories. My aunts, I didn't have any sisters, so my aunts on my mother's side were my pseudo sisters because they weren't old enough to be my mother, so
Mhm,
they were like big sisters to me. So I got
mhm,
a lot of my training up through conversations heard
mhm.
and conversations spoken. So a lot of modeling went on
Yeah,
around that. And now the modeling continues because who are the models? Because if your parents have passed on, like mine have, who am I looking at? Oh, I'm it.
yeah, yeah,
I'm up,
yeah. Well,
right?
one of the like when I left the corporate world, one of the early quotes that really stuck out to me from things I read and I learned was Jim Rohn, "You are the sum of the five people you spend the most time with." And that is true.
Hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
it really is such a reflection on who you are and what you stand for, and it really makes a difference. And it's something that I have been telling my son since he's 5 years old. And every once in a while, he'll call me up and he'll say, "Oh, I just stopped talking to this person. They're not my five people." I was like,
Mhm.
he
And
listens.
when you make that decision, there will be um, spaces in your
Space.
life where you are the only one.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And take that pause to really get to know yourself because the others will show up, but just
Yeah.
not yet. This is your time. Use
Yeah.
it accordingly. Don't go
Yeah.
looking just for anybody to fill up space with.
No, no, we don't need gap fillers.
No, no, that doesn't work anyway. We've learned that too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, there's a definite application process.
Application, I like it. Question number one, most people won't even get past.
Yeah.
Because first it's like they get scared. Oh my gosh, there's questions.
There's questions. There's a form.
Never
I
happened.
don't know.
I thought my charm would get me by on this one.
Mm.
No,
You're
no.
decades beyond that.
Yeah,
Um,
done charm, done good looks, done all that. Yep.
so, you know what I'd love to learn more about? Because I was listening to your most recent podcast before we
Mhm.
got on today. You started to talk about systema intelligence, and we didn't get to that part of the podcast when I was listening
Mm.
this morning. So I'm
Oh,
curious
yeah.
about that.
Sweet, sweet, sweet. It to break it down into really succinct terms, it's our body's intelligence. We've always had it. Our body intelligence, we say it could be internal, but really it's a space around us, and anything that comes close to us, we get that tingling. We
Mhm.
we have learned to bypass our knowingness. That's why we talk and go ask a million people questions about what we need to do with our life. Like, why are you asking your mechanic about what you should do about your life? Why are you asking the baker down the road or the cat down the street? You need to sit in the pause and get to know yourself, get to understand how your body reacts to certain things so you know what a yes feels like and you also know what a no feels like. And it's practice. It's
Yeah.
real big practice. So I have a lot of people coming and asking me, well, how did you know when the time was right? How did you just sell everything and start your life over so late in your life? And my curt answer is because I knew. I
Mm.
didn't know what it was going to look like. I didn't know where I was going to land. I didn't go sell this and immediately bought that so I had somewhere to go. None of that was the thing for me, right? But that was my knowingness. I'm not asking anybody to do what I did. I'm
Mhm.
asking people to click in to their body's intelligence. We all have it. It's
Mhm.
what we came here with. We have been numbed and distracted away from it to follow somebody else's agenda. And
Yes.
that's what we know how to do. So when you're called to make decisions or make choices, that's where that fight or freeze things comes in because you don't know that part of yourself yet. You don't trust your own intuition. You don't trust your judgment. So you run off and ask a ton of people who know nothing about
Mhm.
you or your body's intelligence. Nothing.
That's so very, very, very true. I mean, I was doing the wrong thing for so long because it was not what I was meant to do, and I morphed it into the very best I could morph it into for my own purposes.
Mhm,
But,
mhm.
it was not me, and my body was screaming out in every which way that it could
Yep,
that this is not what I should be doing,
yep.
and, I quit my job because I needed to be at home for my son because I was solo parent,
Mhm.
and, um, but it was very scary because I was leaving a really good job, and I
And
was a solo
benefits.
parent. Benefits that I mean, like, I had some serious golden handcuffs,
Mhm. Yep.
and, it was very hard to walk away from that, but
Mhm.
it was the best thing I ever did.
Mhm. Of course, it's the best thing you ever did because you've lined up to your soul purpose. That's a
Mhm.
term that's been going around forever, soul purpose. And people throw these things around without really understanding what that means, but I'm designed to do something. You're designed to do something, and you can tell when we are in our design. How can you tell when you're in your design, Donna?
Oh, you just know, you feel it, like, I'm in it now. I It took years, but I'm in it now.
Yeah, you feel
I
it. There's a certain joy. You wake up in the morning and you can't wait to get to it, get going with it. And it's
But
different for everybody.
the thing I think that is consistent is it's not optional.
No,
It's
no,
not optional. Once you
no,
know what it is, there's no going back to what you did before.
no, no. That option is now shut down. It's closed off to you. It's been pinched away, boom, gone. Um, and even the thought of it will give you a headache, like it does for me.
Yeah.
And I see some of my friends doing some wonderful things, corporate things, and they've just been appointed this or just appointed that. And a little part of me would think, oh, I wonder what would have been happening for me if I had continued on that path. And then I get a stomach ache, and then I get,
Yeah.
something happens to me, and it's like, stop it.
Yeah, I mean, like, I had an amazing job, and I'm out, November will be 19 years,
Hmm.
and, um, every once in a while, I'll speak to somebody that I used to work with, and they're still talking about the same stuff.
Yeah, yeah,
Like, nothing's changed.
yeah.
And I was like, "Oh my god, like, there's not enough time to tell you how many things changed and what I'm doing."
No, the best I can do is give you my Instagram. Go follow.
Yeah.
Because I just know I can't do it. Or read the book or whatever you need to do. Follow me on that. No.
Read the book I read 20 years ago.
Yeah, yeah, keep up. I have a podcast. Keep up. That's all I can do for you. Maybe we can do a drink later sometime, but there that's the thing, the churn of your life, or the onion peeling, I might even call it, is
Yeah,
just
it really is.
spectacular. It's just spectacular. What I'm on about this week can change next week. I'm still on the path, but new things
Yeah,
float.
yeah. I mean, the possibilities are endless. They're all
Mhm.
around us, and they're waiting for us to pick them up. I love Elizabeth Gilbert's theory on opportunities from her book, The Big Magic.
Mhm, mhm.
Opportunities are around us all the time,
Oh,
and it's for us to take them. And if we don't take them, they go to somebody else.
yes, and to have the eyes to notice,
Yeah.
because I'm living in the woods on a
Mhm,
lake. I see how, nature operates, and
mhm,
the operating principle, the organizing principle, of life. And every day there's always something new. And hummingbirds are a really great example of this, right? We have a few feeders around, and
mhm,
one tiny little one that seems to control the pack. Maybe it's the male, I don't know. But the we put up many opportunities for food on the properties for the
mhm,
birds. And those that wait in the bush until the others finish feeding. And one day, the food finished. And the ones down there couldn't figure out what the hell happened, because the others took the opportunities first. They made a point of going and getting it. Most, I'm going to say women, because that's how we were conditioned, wait.
mhm,
Let everybody else feed. You
mhm,
wait it out.
and
And
we'll
if
take
there's
what's left.
you. And that's what end of life usually means for women. Oh, it's our turn. Oh, but now I got bursitis, or now I got something that I now have to put my attention to, which I now have to deal with when I should have been over here doing it.
Mhm, yep,
Right?
very
That's
true.
how we live our life. That's how we live our life. Wait and see, wait for the green lights. Oh, you know what? It's over. Too old. I'm now 55, too old.
Well, I'm gonna keep my mentality of a 13-year-old boy, and that will keep me young.
Mhm. Oh, you have to. You have to. When people ask me what it is I do, besides, I just recognize that my computer could go off at any moment.
That's okay, we're almost done.
Good. So we'll talk fast. Um,
Yes.
the thing about what it is I'm to do, it's to hold space.
Yeah,
I'm not here to tell you what to do.
yeah,
I'm just going to make the space, and we're going to go together.
yeah.
That's what I do.
I kinda work the same way. Alright, on that note, I'm gonna pop up your website so people can come and find you.
Hmm.
If you are watching on the replay, please, any questions, comments, anything you have to add to this conversation, tag us so we can come back and keep this conversation going. And I like to end these with a wisdom bomb. What wisdom bomb do you have for people today, Pamela?
My wisdom bomb is to create space, create a pause somehow in your life, whether it's an hour, a month, a year, 10 years. Create a pause and get to know thyself as deeply as you can. I'm still doing it. I
Okay,
haven't gotten to the well yet, the bottom of the well yet.
that is great advice. Thank you. And thank you for spending some time with us today.
So thank you for having me.
We will be back next week with more. Come spend every Wednesday at noon Eastern with us. Have a great day, everyone.
Bye bye.